Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to compliment both the witnesses today, Ms. Secretary General. I think you guys are doing a great job. I think your responsiveness and understanding of all the different questions here has been very impressive, so thanks very much. I want to dig into some of the big projects in the great state of Alaska. You know, as I like to say, we're a resource-rich but infrastructure-poor state. Alaska has less road miles than Connecticut, and we are almost 120 times bigger than Connecticut. Mr. Chairman, just for your information, we have about twice as many roads than Delaware has, but we are 264 times bigger than Delaware. So we have a lot of catching up to do.
I'd like to say we're still growing, but actually as the sea level rises, you know, it's not looking good.
So first one, won't surprise either of you, Mr. Secretary. You've been great on this. This is the Donlin 404 permits. I just literally had a great meeting in D.C. with the leaders from the Chilista Native Corporation, what we call the YK Delta region, Yukon-Kuskokwim region. By the way, this is one of the poorest regions in the world, or I'm sorry, in America. Great Americans there, of course, are Alaska Native people principally. But as usual, we have what our Native people, what we refer to as the eco-colonialists. These are lower 48 environmental groups. Don't give a damn about the Native people. They come up, they file lawsuits trying to tell the Native people what's good for them. Eco-colonialists. We have a lot of eco-colonialists coming trying to hurt these communities. And as you know, this one is now fronted by Earth Justice, the latest eco-colonialists trying to harm Native people in Alaska. They have worked on this, going after this 404 permit that's now almost 6 years old that you guys have provided. I just want, once again, to get your commitment. Of course, you have to meet with these eco-colonialists, I understand, but not to reopen the Donlin 404 permit, and if there is litigation, to defend it. 6 years, coming back and trying to reopen something after 6 years, to me, that's not the rule of law. That turns us into, like, you know, a banana republic like Venezuela or something like that. So can I get both of your commitments? Mr. Secretary, you've given me this commitment a million times. I literally was asked by the great people of the region when they heard I had this hearing tomorrow to ask once again, so I said I will. By the way, the EPA administrator has been great on this too. He said we're not reopening it. Can I get your commitment once again?
Senator, I always appreciate the opportunity to have a conversation with you to reiterate my commitment. I know there are Alaska Natives on both sides of the issue.
Not many on the other side, trust me. I represent them. This has been driven by the eco-colonialists. I represent the Alaska Native people. The vast majority are supportive.
We have no basis to revisit that permit right now.
General?
Sir, General Gibbs and Colonel Palazzini talked to all of these groups. There is no intention to revisit any of the permit decisions that have been made.
Let me just go two other projects, big ones that you guys have just done a great job on. We had this district partnership, project partnership agreement that I actually went to the signing of, the North Slope Borough, for the Barrow, now called Utiavik Coastal Erosion Project, and then the project partnership agreement for the Port of Nome Expansion Project. These are funded significantly, thanks to all of you and the Congress, but they're still going to likely need continued funding. And can I get both of your commitments to not just, to make sure that once we get, you know, 2/3 of the way through, that we continue to get that funding. We will work on it. They're both very strategic. The Port of Nome, as you know, General, is really strategic. I was just down in the Armed Services hearing. You had this joint Russian-Chinese naval task force off the coast of Alaska. Again this summer, 12 ships, very big, probing our territory, America's territory. We need a place where we can put Navy ships, icebreakers in the Arctic. The Port of Nome is going to be able to do that. Can I get your commitment on both of those? They're good projects coming along well, and the partnership, the project partnership agreements that you guys have signed with the North Slope Borough, with the community of Nome have just been great, and I want to compliment you both again.
Senator, you're correct. There are good projects. I think it's instructive that we know so much about where the rock is in Alaska to try and manage the cost of these projects. Yes, you have our commitment.
And the rock, as you know, could be local, and that's going to reduce the cost. General?
Yes, sir. I've been to both of these projects, and you have our commitment. These are important. We want to finish what we start.
Great. Let me ask, Mr. Chairman, real quick, it actually relates to Senator Kelly, since I know he's next. But Senator Kelly and I are going to be introducing legislation soon. Our staffs are working together on this issue of contaminated lands for Native Americans. And it's a little bit different in Arizona than it is in Alaska. But as both of you know, the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, the federal government gave Congress provided 44 million acres of land to the Native people, set up our regional corporations, biggest indigenous peoples settlement probably in the history of the world, certainly in the history of America. And Mr. Chairman, you've been a great champion of this. A lot of that land was contaminated, right? So the federal government was like, here you go, Alaska Natives, here's your land. Oh, by the way, it's all polluted. Pretty bad. The chairman was great on a bill of mine a couple years ago where we said, hey, at a minimum, CERCLA doesn't require, you can't sue these native corporations under the federal government because the federal government actually gave them polluted land. So we fixed that idea on liability, which of course made sense. But we're working on some innovative cleanup ideas. And I just want to continue to work with your offices on the technical assistance that we need to bring our bill forward, hopefully get it in the WRDA bill, that would provide remediation efforts outside of the usual wetlands mitigation bank idea. And this would be the idea of, hey, go to clean up Alaska Native or Arizona tribal lands as part of a mitigation effort that's innovative, because look, in terms of the pollution in Alaska, the federal government is unlikely to be able to clean all that up. It's literally in the billions. So we're trying to find innovative solutions. This committee's done a really good job on addressing this in a bipartisan way. Senator Kelly and I, like I said, are working on that. Can I get your commitment to continue to work with my office, Senator Kelly's office, on some of these innovative solutions to do what we all want, which is clean up the lands of our first peoples in this country. By the way, are great patriotic Americans. They serve at higher rates in the military than any other ethnic group in the country.
Absolutely, you have my commitment. We need innovative ideas, and when we can restore the environment and take care of Native American issues, all the better.
Senator, we do a lot of cleanup, 1950 Area Atomic Energy Commission, nuclear waste cleanup across the country, a lot of work on formerly utilized defense sites, a lot of experienced staff in this area, and looking forward to working with you on the text.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.